So be warned. So please welcome Lirone to the stage.
Hello. Well, you know something? I really enjoy entering a room full of people I've never met before. Have you ever heard anyone say that? Or have you ever heard a fund manager say that? I'm sure no. Maybe fund managers, not fund managers. But today we're going to talk about how you can feel a bit better entering such room with so many people you don't know, or maybe some of them you do know. Now, thanks so much, Will. It was very interesting to look at your results here, at the answers that you gave. And there is always those people who feel more comfortable. I think it was about 50 to 54% of you mentions that you know what to say or you feel more comfortable. And there are always those who feel less comfortable. But I want to ask you guys for this session, those of you who feel more comfortable, please try to increase the way you network in 10%. Look at the tactics I'm going to share with you today and try to increase it in 10%. And those of you who feel uncomfortable, this is the perfect session for you as well. So today we're going to talk about how you can make the most out of this conference and make sure the people here, the relationship would really matter to you. So I want to argue what's the relationship between human capital and financial capital? Are they equal? Or maybe one is higher than the other? So let's play a little game. Because we are here all about data, right? So I searched the research world, and I found a few research that probably would be interesting for you and will answer some of the question around human capital versus financial capital. So let's start with the first one. Who do you think achieved a higher IRR? Would it be the investor focusing on local markets with local network, or investors with international networks? So which one think that the local market? Please raise your hands. Okay. And investors with international network? Okay, that's pretty clear. So you guys are right. The ones who have, both of them obviously are good, but the ones who invested more in international networks had 23.7%, a bit around 4 or 5% more than those who have local networks. Now, where do you think most successful exits come from? Again, personal cross-border connections? Raise your hand if you think it's cross-border connections or local connections. So the international one, cross-border connections? Or local connections? Okay, that was a bit unsure. But again, it's the international cross-border connections. 63% of those who have connections with people from different countries, like here, has most successful exits, as opposed to 37% with local network. And last but not least, which fund selectors manages risk better? We all want to manage risk, right? Would it be those with tight domestic networks or those with tight international networks? So domestic network, manage risk better? Okay, you got it already. So international networks. You got it, definitely. So 15% less risk if you have international networks. And the reason I share this with you, with some more obviously science and data out there, is because you guys here basically can and already are impacting the financial European sector. And this event is less about how you can sell to one another. It's really about what you can do together. So I want you to look to your right and look to your left. And yes, you can do it. And you see people that could either be really meaningful for you today, next month, next year. Maybe you can find your best friend. Maybe someone can give you an insight that you've never even thought about and it's going to take your investment higher. And even can find you a partner, a car, who knows? There's so many ways and avenues that the relationship that you create here can take you to. So without further ado, before I introduce myself, I want to learn a bit more about you. So please raise your hands if you are from Berlin, or from Germany, for the matter. Hi, guten Tag. And raise your hand if you think you came from the farthest country. And you need to tell me which one. Your name and the country. South Africa, hello. I think we have a winner. Do we have anyone else? Okay, look, from South Africa. Which one of you, who here, came from the most beautiful country? Oh, you love your countries, that's amazing. And one last thing, Has anyone here is playing a musical instrument? Oh, your name and what type of instrument? Yeah. Piano, Fernando from Spain? Yeah, amazing. Good. So good to know you guys. So a bit about myself before we dive deep. So my name is Lirone Glikman, and I've been traveling the world for the last 12 years, teaching professionals as yourself how to achieve business goals through the most important thing we have, the human capital. How to know to build a good, productive, authentic relationship that could also help us achieve our goals and be fulfilled. I work with cutting-edge startups from different sectors, also the financial world, and I help them to do their business development and build their personal brand. Next month, I'm going to speak in my 28th country. It's Latvia, if we have anyone from Latvia in the audience. Amazing. So we could talk. And I love the two things you need to know about me is that I love yoga. Anyone here loves yoga? And whiskey, Bulvini, Macallan. I know, it's always like someone would love whiskey in the audience, right? So that's what you should know about me. Now that we know one another, we will cover why we're wired for connection, how to break the ice with people you don't know around here, small talk that makes you memorable and impactful, and how to maintain meaningful relationships you are making through this conference and foster a community that supports growth. It's all about how you can enjoy and build this community better. So why do we love to hate networking? You don't have to tell me or answer me because I'm sure that most of us here really uncomfortable or find it annoying. And let me tell you, first of all, have you ever had a class at school or university about networking or business relationship? They don't teach us, right? And that's one of the most important skills we have to have in the workforce, in the work environment, because we are getting promoted or getting our way down or get people to want to help us because mainly, in many cases, is because they know us. And so we are not being taught how to do it, and we aren't comfortable about it. The word networking is annoying. It feels like it's so fake and so manipulative, and there are so many bad things around it, but actually, it's the most humanly thing we can ever do. And we do it all the time. We just don't really think of it as business relationships. So if I look at it, what I see, it's actually like having a friend, but someone we're not really close to. So it's about forming an authentic bond with someone, giving them, finding interest in them, and even having fun. I know it might sound really weird to some of you, but it could also be fun meeting new people. And the currency instead of money, it could be also money, by the way, but it's mainly sharing contact. It's what you give. It's sharing contact, information, resources, which you have so much here, insights, knowledge about your market, and what I like to call the experience. You probably heard the sentence by Maya Angelou, and she said that people will not necessarily remember what you did or what you say, but they will always remember how you made them feel. And each of your interactions has a different kind of feel to it. So I want you to bring yourself and be aware of how you interact with others. And what you can gain out of it, why you should say hello, so much. You can enjoy the conference, you can gain more friends, build a sense of belonging, gain insights about the market, broaden your perspective personally and professionally, find some collaboration opportunities, resilience and safety net, and create future opportunities. Now, I want to tell you that creating those relationships is so simple, and because it's so simple, I think people think it's so complicated. A researcher from the US, Dr. Sloan, she found what makes the most popular kids at school popular. And will you understand that? You'll understand how easy it is. So what do you think makes the most popular kids at school popular? Sorry? Okay. What else? Yeah, I heard someone around this area. What makes them popular? Sorry? Showing interest in others. Okay. So you said that, and maybe some would say their shoes, or their clothes, or they're maybe being snobbish. But the actual thing is it's those people that say hi plus a name. So hi, Johnny. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Morgan. Maybe they would go gossip about them after that, but they actually acknowledge people. They make them they show them that they're seen. And that's actually what makes them popular, because people want to be seen. That's all we want in this conference and in life. So if it's good for kids, it's good for us as well. Now, we talked earlier, Dean talked earlier about the biology and about our body. So I also want to show you the biology around relationship, about connection. We are wired to connect. That's what we do. Now, essentially, if I would tell someone to go to the other person across the seat here and tell them, hi, my name is John, nice to meet you, you can do it technically, right? But many times we won't do it because we feel uncomfortable. We don't want to be rejected. We don't want to, maybe interrupt other people. And the contrary, we are wired to do it. Now, when I went to the science and I checked why are we so uncomfortable approaching new people, I found a very relieving statistic. It actually made me feel so good. Do you know what the percentage of people that actually feel uncomfortable approaching or connecting with other people have some kind of social anxiety? What do you think it would be? What is the percentage? 80. Okay, anyone else? 90. You're numbers people. What do you think? 80, 90. So guys, you are right. 90% of the population, this is by a US research, report that some level of shyness and anxiety with social interactions. It could be one in a conference room, or one to many, or if I talk to a boss or an authority. But that's such a good point of data, because it means that you, and also myself are probably uncomfortable around new people. And with that in mind, one of the most amazing hormones that we have that help us as a species would be the oxytocin. Because when we approach someone new, we may feel uncomfortable at the beginning, but if we look into their eyes, or if we smile, or if we start a very nice conversation, within a few seconds even, both of our body releases the oxytocin hormone, which actually comes as a bit, it creates a bit more trust, and they call it the friendship hormone as well. And it actually helps us connect better. And if the conversation is good for even an hour or so, this hormone can be released throughout the hour. So actually, our biology helps us to connect with other people. And then I want to address another hormone, which Dean also talked about earlier, which is the testosterone. Now, it has a lot of different uses. One of the research around testosterone says that this, when we activate it, and we can activate it, it actually can enable us to think clearer and express ourselves better, and even increase our confidence. So I want you to activate your testosterone right now. So it may be a bit cringe, but I want to ask you to stand up, please. Just stay where you are, and you see the power pose, like the picture? You can take a photo of that as well. The power pose, the Wonder Woman pose. Exactly. Now stay like that, because it takes about a minute or two to activate it. I'm going to activate you towards building relationships. So this is what happens in your body right now. This is the effect of the power pose. Your testosterone levels increase in 20%, meaning you became a bit sharper and more expressive. And your cortisol level, which is the stress hormone, reduces in about 25%, meaning that you're wiring your body and you're almost ready to go out there and network with more ease. So thank you so much. Now you're much more ready for the upcoming networking session. One last thing. Is it good? Are you feel much better now? Much confident? Much expressive? Last thing I want to share with you guys is the split-second scan. So when we meet someone new, the brain, the amygdala, which is the place in the brain, the organ in the brain that's in charge of the fight or flight, actually has two pop-ups, as I like to say. It's split second, like we can't even understand it so quickly. And the brain actually assesses the people around it. The first question, the first assessment is the threat assessment. Is this person a threat to me or not? Yesterday, I was at one of the train stations and I was lost, and I approached this woman with my phone asking her about the direction, and she was so scared. So I realized that maybe she saw me as a threat, so I took a step back, smiled, lowered my voice to make her feel comfortable. Once we understand the person is not a threat, there is another pop-up, the usability assessment. The brain, in the split second, tries to understand if you like them or not. When I learned about this study, I realized, oh my God, all my life, I was really waiting for people to approach me. I was waiting for them to say, hi, how are you? But I realized that they actually waiting for me to approach them. So what if I would bypass this assessment, this threat and usability assessment, and be the person to approach them, to smile at them, to make them feel comfortable, that I like them and I'm not a threat. And since I started doing it, really, my life has changed. Because that's how you make relationships. You need to like them first. So if I can give you one, again, small tip, come with true curiosity and true interest with people. You can even talk to them for 2 minutes. It doesn't matter, but really show them you like them first. Let's break the ice. So after we understood the biology and how we can approach people in the right way, let's break the ice. And when I talk about breaking the ice, it's actually this conversation, the first word. And as Will also asked you some opening sentences, I'm going to give you a few opening sentences. But I can't talk about breaking the ice without talking about the difference between introverts to extroverts. Now, some people believe that the extroverts are the best networkers, right? Because they kind of bring the vibe. They usually, maybe they're loud or they're funny, and they bring the energy, which is so important, and we need those. But the introverted actually has one important trait that is irreplaceable. They're observing, and they ask a lot of questions, and they find interest. And when you find interest in others, you become more interesting to others. So you have to know whether you're the spirit of the party or whether you're observing and asking a lot of questions, you have it in any case, if you're an extrovert or an introvert. Now, how to stand in luck's way? Where can you find the right people? I mean, I see you all around and outside as well. Everyone, you can see a lot of people everywhere here. But maybe the best places to start a conversation, to break the ice, would be actually in queues. The queue to the food, to the drinks, to the bathroom, to the entrance. If you're a smoker, that's always a good way to start a conversation. And maybe approach someone who's standing alone. Now, I want to introduce you my 2 ways of engaging with someone, breaking the ice. I call it the attractive and interactive tactics. Let's start with the attractive, how you can attract people to you. And I want to share a story with you. 2 years ago, I arrived here in Berlin, and I went to a certain event, just like this event. You know, we have a lot of sessions, and at the end, there is the Q&A session. And I was here on earlier sessions, and I saw what you did, and you didn't do what I'm going to share with you now, so you probably, I would like you to take this tip. So I went to this event, I looked at the attendees, and I couldn't see who is there. I could just see who the speakers are. Now, I just came to Berlin 2 years ago, and I wanted to have some clients, and my clients are startup founders. So I was waiting to the Q&A time, and when the Q&A started, someone raised their hand and said, my question is, and then another person raised their hand and said, my question is, and then I raised my hand and I said, hi, my name is Lirone. I'm a mentor at Techstars. That was a Techstars event. I'm a mentor at Techstars. I do business development, and my question is, and I asked a very relevant question. And they answered a very relevant answer. 2 minutes later, when the session ends, 5 startups approached me. Oh my God, you're a mentor. Oh my God, you do business development. What's your name? And let's talk. So the fact that I actually took a short time, I didn't hijack the conversation. I just took a short time to introduce myself, enabled people to approach me. I actually gave them the permission to feel comfortable to reach out to me. And I want to do this with you now. If we can have some of the microphones around. We have one of our assistants here. I wouldn't ask you right now to ask a question, but let's just simulate it. And if someone can just introduce themselves like we're in a Q&A session, so also we get to know one another. So do we have any brave person in the audience that want to introduce themselves before you ask a question, potentially? I know it can be a bit uncomfortable, but hey, we have a winner. Yes? Let's say you're asking a question. This is the Q&A session. Yes, what is your question, sir?
Hi, my name is Ilan Volson from Tandem Capital from Israel.
Hi, Ilan, how are you?
I'm just fine, thank you.
Amazing, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, good. A round of applause to him. It wasn't easy, but he did it. Thank you. Anyone else want to introduce themselves or ask a question? Yes, please. Behind you, Ilan, if you can give it to him. Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Mubin Tahir. I'm an investment strategist from Wisdom Tree, and I'm also a public speaking coach.
Wow. Let's talk after this session. One more. Do we have another brave person? Maybe a woman? Last time? Going once? Going twice? Yes, we have a winner. Okay, 1 second. The microphone will reach you over here. Yes, he's coming. So again, sir, this is the Q&A session. Please.
Yes, hi. I'm Harold from Berlin, an introvert turned influencer or finfluencer.
Wow. So we have 3 people here introducing themselves. I would love to hear more about each of them. How did you turn from an introverted into an influencer? Ilan, what you're doing in your company. Sorry, forgot your name, but what you're doing as a public speaker and working in finances. So they actually gave us a permission to approach them later. So I really expect you to do it in your next sessions. So this is one way to attract people to you. That was the attractive method to breaking the ice, how to get people come to you. Now let's talk about the interactive, what you actually all do so many times. It's how to break the ice when you approach other people. So you have all those regular sentences like smile. Usually I like to smile at people and maybe gaze just for another split second when it's not too weird, but it's good enough to say, hi, nice to meet you. Like maybe it's a bit like uncomfortable, but I just looked at them a split second a bit more and then I introduce myself. The next one would be ask to get introduced. Hey, do you know anyone from Latvia here or from Germany or any other places or someone who works with certain companies? And just ask them if they can introduce you. This is one of my favorites, and because it's so kind of natural, ask for an assistance and then introduce yourself. So, excuse me, what time is the next session start? Thank you, by the way, my name is Lirone. Or, where are the restrooms? Thank you, by the way, I'm Lirone. So easy. And the last one is compliments. I love your jacket, or very nice watch. Nice to meet you. I am X. So simple, you can do it, and now you have the formula. I want to share another story with you. I call it the hero tactic when it comes to the interactive method. A few years ago, you would probably relate to it in a way. A few years ago, I was on my way to the Intercontinental Hotel for the Chicago Stock Exchange event. And I was supposed to meet a friend there. And I was with him on the phone, and he said to me, I was just looking for him. I tried to understand where he actually stands, and I literally opened every session's door. And I'm like, where could he be? Like, we are here, and I can't find him. And then this blonde woman just walks around and approaches me, and she told me, excuse me, it seems like you're lost. Can I help you? And I'm like, yes, please. I'm supposed to meet a friend here at the Chicago Stock Exchange event. She's like, darling, you're at the London Stock Exchange event. The Chicago is in the other hotel. And I felt so stupid. I'm like, wow, oh my God, I felt so like horrible, but thank you so much. What's your name? She said her name is Ophir, and she manages, she's also in the fund, hedge fund industry. And I asked her, we started to converse and had some conversation, and then we checked each other Facebook, and I saw that we have really good mutual friends from Australia. I used to live in Sydney for a few years. And I asked her, how do you know David? And she said, because of something around aviation, and her father is a pilot. Oh my God, my father is also a pilot. So we found so many common grounds and connection points, and we exchanged our phones, and we left. Then I Googled her, and I see that Ophir is the first hedge fund manager in her country. She's the first, woman who opened a hedge fund in her country. So she was like a very big shot in the financial world, and we became friends, and oh, I just forgot to tell you. She's actually in my book, and I'm going to give one of you my book, The Super-Connectors Playbook, right after this. And I love to share the story because I call it the hero tactic. She was a hero. She saw a woman in distress, but she also approached me because I was there alone. And she essentially made me feel better. She made the event for me. She took the stand of the host, or she took responsibility of the people around her. And that's what I encourage you to do. Take responsibility of your colleagues here to make their session much better. So we talked about what is it networking. We talked about the biology, how to activate it. We talked about how to break the ice and engage with someone. Then come the small talk. Just like me and Ophir did, the small talk created a big connection, and she's my lifelong friend right now, which is one thing, and she also helped me business-wise and personally-wise. But when we're talking about small talk and the result of a small talk, so essentially it's the first conversation you make with someone that makes you understand, do I like them? Do they like me? Is there any future to this conversation, personally or professionally? And when you go back to the science, I don't know if you've heard of the weak ties science. There are a lot of science around weak ties. So there are two types of ties. One is strong ties, which usually it's our family and close friends. And the other one is weak ties. These most of you here are weak ties. So it's people from our industry that we engage with every now and again. And weak ties are the best type of ties because they enable us to basically hack some circles. If you know, there is 6 degrees of separation. So they basically start jump us to the next third or fourth cycle and introduce us to opportunities, knowledge, company, information that we don't have access to on a daily basis. So that's why they're so great. And another thing is they really increase the sense of belonging. So here around this hall, when you engage with one another, you're a part of Citywire community. You will feel more belonging and your well-being metrics will also increase. So that's why weak ties are so important. And let me share another thing. Kohler Business School had a study. They studied I think the study took about a decade or a bit more. And they studied managers in the corporate world. And they realized that if at work you have both instrumental and emotional connections, meaning that you work with people and you engage with them for your work, but also you can feel open and connect with them on deeper levels, you prolong your life in about 5 or 4 years. So once you build these good connections, you can even support your longevity. Now, I want to share with you the small talk formula before we're actually going to try some of it. Now, you've heard all of this before. I'm not going to say anything new, but what might be new to you is the structure. So any small talk, after you break the ice, has 3 steps. The first one is the first impression, connection, and continuity. The first impression happens usually within a minute or a bit more. When you smile, the nonverbal, you introduce yourself, and I really recommend start talking about good topics, positive topics, the good weather or the good conference, because you want to set the tone for the conversation. The most important part of a small talk is the connection, is when you connect with one another. I just spoke with one of the team members during lunch about how important it is to state someone's names. I try to say someone's names at least once or twice during a conversation because we all like to hear our names. And it makes us feel seen, right? Then 2 more things is about finding common ground and finding interest in others. As I shared about the introverted, when they are finding interest in others, they actually become more interesting. Now, I want to share with you the concept of dopamine questions. If you raise your hand, if you usually ask people, hi, where are you from? What do you do? It's okay, you can raise your hand. Good, that's what most people do, which is great and important, and we want to know this information, but it's not memorable. And that's what everybody is asking. On the other hand, I have a friend who's a unicorn founder who just did his big exit and lives in Bali. And when he meets people, he always asks them, what is your dream? Now, okay, people can say, whoa, I don't know you, and you ask me what my dream is. But after this split second, the conversation goes very deep into emotional aspect. And that's what we call dopamine questions, is those questions that can really tap into your emotions and make you have a deeper conversation with someone. So it could be questions on meaning and motivation, like what first drew you to investment, for example, or what is your dream? Curiosity and insight. So what's one idea that changed how you invest or lead investments? Another type of dopamine question that makes your dopamine higher and you're more engaged and memorable is connection and people. So who was your favorite speaker so far? Or what do you think about politician or a singer or whatever? And human touch. So if you weren't managing funds, what would you do? Anybody want to answer? If you weren't managing funds, what would you do? Not everyone together, guys, one by one. I need to hear you. Okay, you can tell me later if you're shying about it. So these are the dopamine questions that are a bit less formal and really engages you in a deeper conversation. And the next one is my favorite formula, is the 4 Ps of common ground. So when we meet people that has some kind of similarity to us, like when I met Ophir and both of our fathers are pilots and we have mutual friends, we felt more connected because she reminded me something about myself. And common ground is actually a survival mechanism. Back in the tribal days, when someone used to see another person, if he wore the same, I don't know, leaves or whatever, or signs from the same tribe, he knew he was safe. And that was the best. One of the best things about common ground is really that it makes us feel safer around other people. So the 4 Ps these are 4 different topics. You can always speak with other people. You can always talk to them about passions, places, people, and present, what is happening right now. So passions, your next vacation, your hobby, food is a great passion. Places that you've been to, you traveled to, you studied at, you had your honeymoon, people that you know or celebrities, people that you follow, and what's happening right now, the room, the speaker, the weather. These are always such great topics, the 4 Ps that you can engage with anyone about. And this is the time where I want you to please look to your right and behind you and in front of you. And I want us to play a little game. We'll take a few minutes for you. Please gather to groups of about 4 people, and I want you to find 3 common grounds with those strangers around you. Now, it can't be obvious. No, like we're all of us are in finance, and all of us, are in Berlin. Maybe we all go to church on Sunday. Oh, all the 4 of us has 2 daughters. So really try to find something very special. So please gather into groups of 4, find 3 really exciting common grounds for all of you, and we'll take about 5 minutes or so for that. Go.
תקשיב איזה הרצאה הכי טובה שהייתה לי.
We have 2 more minutes. Okay, guys. Let's start gathering back. Okay, we can come back now. I know it's always hard to break. Okay. Okay. You know, you look much better. You look much happier than 5 minutes ago. I don't know why, but you look much happier. So thank you so much for engaging and doing this. By the way, I asked the team to lock the door so you couldn't run away when I asked for this session, for this exercise. So I'm happy that you all stayed and sticked around. So raise your hands if you found 3 common grounds for all of you. Yeah? Okay, like what? If maybe we can use the microphones. What did you find? You were like 6 people. 6 people. What was it? Yeah, of course. But what did you find? What's common ground? Classical music, okay, works. Traveling.
We found that we all prefer nature rather than urban tourism or cities.
Okay, we can give them a good round of applause. There are 6 people. Thank you so much. And any other group that could find 3 common grounds? Yes. Your name, please, and what did you find?
I am Álvaro. I'm from Aberdeen, Spain. And passions, football.
Of course. Sorry, I'm Real Madrid. I'm sorry if you're
I'm
not
also
the same.
Scottish, so whiskey too.
Amazing.
We did also say ladies, but young people here. So places, Italy.
Italy? For all of you?
Well, Amsterdam sometimes also.
Okay.
And Spain, obviously.
That's
Spain
half,
in the pocket.
half a point.
The people that we have in common, but especially all the people in this conference.
Good. He knows how to give you guys compliments, right? Okay.
And the present reduced risk to balance of a great year.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's say that was okay. That was almost there. But the reason, thank you, was for you to find common grounds, but more so is for you to engage. And I don't know if you've heard of one of the best books around super-communicators by Charles Duhigg. And he is an American reporter, and he actually wanted to understand what makes people super-communicators, what makes them connect with people in such a way that they want to open up to one another. And he interviewed CIA and police officers and really top people in their field. And he actually found what you guys just did. To become a super connector, what you have to do is to ask a question. Then you want to ask follow-up questions and essentially ask more questions than usually. And then you want to reflect something about yourself and feel okay to laugh about yourself. And that's kind of what you did, right? So maybe you asked, where was your last vacation in? Thailand. Maybe were you also in Vienna? Were you in another place? Yes, Vienna. I was also in Vienna, and I had such a great time there. And then you find out that it's not the right thing and you move on. I mean, this kind of a conversation, when you ask questions, you ask follow-up questions, you share your experience, and then moving on, that what would make you a super communicators. And I want you to use this tonight, especially at dinner. Ask more questions and share from your experience. So we're going back to our small talk formula. So we said that we have 3 parts. First impression, when you actually smile, introduce yourself, and share positive topics. Then you connect through common ground, through finding interest and asking questions and remembering people's names. And if you want to continue the conversation, if you think there is a great opportunity to stay in touch as a friendly connection or business connection, then you should offer a certain value. what can you offer? Which I'll say in a second, but the idea is that when I offer something, I say, hey, Alvaro, I'm going to send you this really interesting article. You're actually going to wait to hear from me. So then when I send you a message on LinkedIn or email, it's not weird because you've been waiting to hear from me. So you can give a lot of things. You can give them chocolates, maybe. You can also give each other your time. Maybe think together, consult them about what you're expert on, compliment. You can compliment them. That's also a small thing that you can give. You can connect them with someone. You can share some knowledge or trends, refer them to another person that would be a better person for them, share an article. So there are so many things you can give, and then they expect to hear from you, and that's how you build a relationship. So you have a small talk, you break the ice, you have a small talk, and then you want to make the rest. Now, I'm sure some of you probably thought, okay, if I speak to someone in such a great conversation, but I want to meet more people, or I'm hungry, or I have to go to the restroom, or whatever, how do I exit the conversation, right? It's an important thing. And how do I do it still in the right way, because we are all a community, and we love one another? So this would be my formula. Compliment, and try to be even as specific as you can. Make a transition sentence, and then exit. So for example, it's been great chatting with you. Thank you so much for sharing your information, your knowledge about XYZ, or I really enjoyed learning from you about XYZ. I promise to catch up with someone before the next talk, so let's connect on LinkedIn, and I'll see you later. So compliment, transition, exit, and by default, I would recommend to connect with people on LinkedIn, because even if you won't stay in touch, you will at least stay in touch through LinkedIn. So this is kind of an elegant exit strategy. Now, before our time is up, after the conference, first of all, this is the working in the word networking, guys. This is where you really have to work. What can we do? We want to keep relationship going. But I want to share with you another interesting study. There was a very, the older study of Robin Dunbar. He's a UK researcher. He's realized that we can remember up to 150 people at a time. This is kind of a certain from the tribal days. Our brain at any given moment can remember 150 people at a time. And then another research by Plus One actually tracked about 2 million interactions of 2 million people, and they came up with this data. We have 3 circles of communication. We communicate with our inner circle, we're the most important people, about 58% of the time. The trusted circle, friends that are more close to us, about 25% of the time. And the active network, 17% of the time. And you guys here consider to be the active network of one another. So you can communicate through LinkedIn, through WhatsApp, through email, through any other mean, and you don't have to be in touch every day, but you should definitely choose who you want to keep in touch with and get them and make sure that you connect with them. And they would be the 17%. Now, we all know that if we want to continue and build relationship with someone, we have to be in touch more than once or twice. So I want to share with you some tips how to do it better. How to follow up. First of all, you need to know that we forget. So you can use your notes, you can use your AI. Many times I use a ChatGPT chat, and I just record or take photos of business cards, and I just kind of share what I did throughout the conference, and then it gives me a full report. So you forget who you met, write it down for yourself, or use the chat. You forget what the conversation was about, so again, record it. Record some really specific points that you talked about. You forget to follow up on time. Make sure to clear your calendar. Take 30 minutes or an hour in the coming days or the coming week to follow up with people that you've met. And here is your post-event checklist. Connect on LinkedIn. Send a message through email, WhatsApp, LinkedIn. Publish an after-event post and tag those people, and I'll explain in a second why. If you feel comfortable, even take a selfie with someone. Set a meeting or drink at the conference. You still have another day and a half to do it. And find time to follow up, as I mentioned. And I'll give you this example. I was speaking at an event in Thailand in August, Texas, and I had my own session, and then I interviewed this founder, Belle from Freshcat. And after the session, I created this post that got about 137 likes. But what I did, I tagged investor from BlackRock and the head of Accenture in Thailand. Those are people that I met through the conference, and they replied to me. And once they replied to me, we continued the conversation also through messages. So sharing a post on social media can also, again, further build the relationship that you have with people here after the event. So, now what? We understand how to break the ice, how to use our biology to do it, how to make a small talk, how to maintain relationship with people. If there is one main thing that I want you to remember from this session, is this, guys. Your community can make you rich. It can make you rich in so many things. In friends, in adventures, in joy, in knowledge, in insights, and of course, in money. So I really encourage you to keep connecting. Look at everyone here again. You can be so significant to one another. And even if not, enjoy this beautiful conference that you have together as a big community. And before we finish, I would like to know, and if the guys could also share the microphone with you, what would be one action you can take right now or through dinner? Because I'm going to be at dinner and I'm going to watch you and see if you network. So what is one action that you're going to take right now? Yes, please. And do we have the microphone to share with them, please? Thank you. So just a few notes of what are you going to take. The introverted guy turned into influencer. And your name again, sorry.
Get 30 minutes more sleep.
Amazing. Dean, this one is for you. One more, guys. What else are you going to take? That will make you better and stronger to connect with other people. What one thing you're going to take after this session? Yes, anyone? One thing, yes, Will, and you can join me after.
Yeah, Will Robbins, editor, Citywire. I'm going to listen better.
Listen better.
Yeah.
Listen better. It's always important. So, Will, maybe it's time for you to join me if we have any more questions. And I also want to give my book, The Super Connectors Playbook. It's my bestseller, to share it with one of you soon. From the audience, yes. But if we have some questions.
Round of applause for Lirone. Brilliant. We'll do, fantastic. Yeah, look, we've been interactive. I think we've got time for a couple of questions, and I might ask a couple of questions. So, any hands? Anyone got a question so far they want to raise? I will cut in then. So, one question I had is, how do you rescue a conversation that's going badly?
How do you rescue
Asking for
conversation?
Yeah.
That's a great thing. The best thing to do, it's also really relevant when you're speaking with people from different cultures, and sometimes it's a bit awkward, and you say something which you think is so amazing, but the other person just really don't understand you. So I would really ask them questions and follow their lead, meaning I would try to ask them some relevant question, maybe using the 4 Ps, and then I will follow their energy. Let's say if they speak slower or even calmer, I will try to match my speaking engagement, also match my body language to them, because when we mirror other people, we subconsciously connect better. So I will really give them the lead and find interest in them and make them save the conversation, basically.
Yeah, thank you. Cool. I've actually got more questions, but any here?
Yes,
Right.
please. Our friend from Latvia.
Here we go. Fantastic.
Hi, Paul Miklasevic, Riga, Latvia, originally Toronto, Canada. Thank you very much for an inspiring presentation. My question for you is, what is the most, what connection have you made between two people that you are most proud of?
Wow. I'm actually, it took me some time after being a networker, and I connected so many people for so many years, and a few years later, someone actually introduced me to someone I introduced him a few years earlier. So there's so many of those along the years, but if I would say some connection I'm really proud of is, I really insist of working with universities, because I think this information is so important for students. We've all been there, right? And when they're at the beginning of their career. And I work with this technological institute called HIT. And I basically I work with women, women students from the first year and then third year. So I came to give a talk at the first year, and then 2 years later, 2 of the women approached me and they said, when you did a certain exercise just like we did here, we became best friends, and we are, even went to our honeymoon together. And I think the human connection, if I was able to make them become the best friends and create experiences for life, I think that's one of the best things I could possibly connect and give people. Because eventually it's all about the experience and the emotion and how we enjoy with one another. So that's what excites me most. Thank you for asking.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Brilliant, nice. Time for one more question. Well, let's see a hand go up. I will ask it then. So we don't sort of, teach journalists, for example, to be overly deferent, okay? But I did want to ask how you might adapt some of this to talk to someone who's higher status. Because best friend in the world, sometimes you might be introduced. CEO might be a bad example, but but maybe a CEO or some sort of dignitary. And we have a royal family in England. You might, one day you might get to meet the royal. It depends which one. Someone of higher status who, again, without you can keep it warm. You might be able to strike up a conversation without sort of necessarily being overly deferent or formal about it.
Yeah, so I think essentially it's really to try to ask the question that they're not asked often, or approach them in a way that is different. As I said, like the dopamine questions, because everyone maybe approach them and, oh my God, you're amazing, and I'm so honored to meet you, and you are. So obviously take into account the cultural aspect, but try to find a question or a point that nobody else told them about, or it's rarely. For example, maybe you can Google them. What I do sometimes is I Google them and I try to see, for example, maybe they shared something personal on LinkedIn. Let's say if it's a CEO that is just ran a marathon, or that they're looking for something, or something that is a bit more personal, that if you will say, hey, I see you, I get it, maybe I can support you, or I really appreciate that. That might, you need to search, but try to really search the thing that can move them emotionally and make them feel, oh my God, this is a new conversation. Yeah. This person is interested in me, and that's why I'm interested in them.
Brilliant. Well, Lirone, you've been absolutely fantastic.
One last question.
We've got one last question.
And then I'm going to, get the book. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your insights. I reluctantly appreciate your lessons here. But as you are being a strategist, I just want to put away a little bit of the well-being of this and thinking a little bit cynical. Because you say this can create a lot of value. But it's easier to look for relationships that are similar to yourself. Based on the common ground, but perhaps not the most useful for you. You probably rather meet with somebody that have opposing view, contrasting view, can bring something new into your network. But that's more difficult. What would your strategy be in order to connect with those people that don't have common ground, look different from yourself, different values, and might not want to speak with you?
So thank you so much. And your name again?
In a more polarized world. How to connect with the opposite of you.
Thank you so much. And your name again?
George.
So essentially, we do on a strategic level, yes. I mean, we all want to achieve something, and it's good. But I'm going to take what Robert Kawasaki said many years ago. He said, try to learn a little about a lot of different things. So throughout my life, when I was 21, I moved by myself to Sydney, Australia. Then I moved to New York. I put myself in very new environments, so several times in my life. And essentially I had no common ground with, Jane from Sydney, who just was running down Bondi Beach. But then I used the 4 Ps, for example, present, what happens right now, but I also try to learn a lot of things. So if I was talking to a scientist, which I did, maybe I'm not into the science, but I have like this little piece of information, and I could just ask them, hey, what do you think about X? So try to engage with them about what matters to them. As I said earlier, try to find curiosity. Be curious about them, about their world. Ask them more questions about what they're interested in. And then, essentially, you will learn about them and you will find more common points. So that would be one of my best ways to answer this question. And if you don't mind, I would ask you guys to raise your hands, and I would love to give one of you my book. So if you want to raise your hands, and let's see which one. Okay, I saw your name, the woman. Yeah, I want more women to have this as well. So please give her a big round of applause, and thank you so much. And your name?